3,000 years ago, during the era of judges, a woman's survival in the Near East was tied entirely to her male relatives. Without a husband or a son, a woman had no right to own land and no path to generate income. When a severe agricultural famine struck the region, that vulnerability became an existential threat. This diagram shows the total collapse of one family's economic safety net. To escape the famine, a man named Elimelech moved his wife Naomi and their 2 sons to the country of Moab. But tragedy followed. Elimelech died. The sons married local women, but 10 years later, both sons died as well. The family tree was severed, leaving Naomi stranded with her 2 foreign daughters-in-law. When Naomi heard the famine in Judah had ended, she decided to return home. However, she urged her daughters-in-law to stay in Moab. She was too old to remarry and provide them with new husbands, and following her back to Bethlehem meant abandoning their native support systems for a land where they would be outsiders. One daughter-in-law stayed, but the other, Ruth, refused to leave. She told Naomi, "Where you go, I will go. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God." In an ancient society, this vow defied all logic of self-preservation. Ruth was volunteering for guaranteed poverty as a foreign widow in a strange land. When the 2 women arrived in Bethlehem, the town was stirred by Naomi's return. She was so changed by her circumstances that she told the locals to stop calling her Naomi, a name meaning pleasant, and instead call her Mara, meaning bitter. She had left Bethlehem full and returned empty. Now 2 women, one elderly and bitter, the other a young foreigner, faced a reality with 0 assets and 0 legal protection. To survive, they must navigate the strict property laws of an ancient society to avoid starvation. This diagram illustrates an ancient legal safety net known as gleaning. Israelite law required landowners to leave the edges of their harvest untouched. This margin was designated for the poor, widowed, and immigrant, allowing them to gather food through their own labor. Ruth took the initiative to use this system, going into the fields to pick up leftover grain behind the reapers. She ended up on the property of a man named Boaz, who, as it happened, was a wealthy relative of Naomi's late husband. Boaz noticed Ruth's hard work and her loyalty to Naomi. He went beyond the basic requirements of the law, ordering his workers to actively protect her and even instruct them to pull extra grain from the bundles and leave it for her to find. When Ruth returned home with a massive haul of barley, Naomi was shocked. Upon hearing the name of the landowner, Naomi realized the significance. Boaz was not just a generous farmer, he was a next of kin, a relative with the legal right to redeem the family's lost inheritance. By utilizing the most basic welfare system available, Ruth had inadvertently unlocked a much deeper legal mechanism. The next of kin system was designed specifically to protect families from losing their ancestral land and their name. Naomi proposed a risky plan to secure their future. She instructed Ruth to wash, put on her best clothes, and go to the threshing floor at night. Ruth was to wait until Boaz finished eating and fell asleep, then quietly go and uncover his feet. When Boaz woke at midnight, Ruth said to him, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your cloak over your servant, for you are next of kin." This was a formal petition for Boaz to act as the family redeemer, to marry her and buy back the family land, so the name of Naomi's dead husband would not be forgotten. Boaz agreed, but he noted a procedural obstacle. While he was a near kinsman, there was another relative more closely related to Elimelech. By law, this man held the right of first refusal to redeem the family property. To settle the matter, Boaz went to the city gates the next morning. In the ancient world, the city gate served as the formal courtroom and civic center where legal transactions were conducted before the town elders. Boaz called the closer relative before 10 of the city's elders and presented the opportunity to redeem the land Naomi was selling. Because the property belonged to their kinsman Elimelech, the relative initially agreed to buy it. Then Boaz specified the full legal obligation. To acquire the land, the man also had to marry Ruth to maintain the name of the dead on his inheritance. Faced with the financial cost of supporting a new family and an estate that would not belong to his own heirs, the relative declined, passing his right to Boaz. To finalize this transfer of rights, they followed a custom from Israel's past. To confirm a transaction, one party took off a sandal and gave it to the other. This act served as a public attestation of the contract in front of the witnesses at the gate. By following the precise requirements of property and inheritance law, Boaz secured the legal authority to restore Naomi's family and rescue her and Ruth from poverty. The legal resolution led to a personal one. Boaz and Ruth married, and the union resulted in the birth of a son named Obed. The townswomen celebrated with Naomi, declaring that her foreign daughter-in-law, who had stayed by her side through everything, had proven more valuable to her than 7 sons. This chart reveals the historical scale of that birth. Obed became the father of Jesse, and Jesse became the father of David. The son born to a destitute widow became the grandfather of the most famous king in Israel's history. A destitute immigrant and a bitter widow once faced absolute ruin. Their survival came down to the strict adherence to a property law, sealed with a sandal at a city gate. That quiet legal procedure saved a family and established the bloodline of a royal dynasty.